Welcome to my latest video, everyone, and today I'm going to be discussing with you quite a difficult topic, but one that needs to be spoken about, and that is how bad the 11th gen 11900K launch was. And in reality, has that processor managed to kill off the Z590 motherboard range as a whole? So it's a difficult topic, and it's one that I'm going to discuss with you in depth. But if this is the sort of thing that you think you're going to enjoy watching, just smash that like button now. Also, if this is first time that you found one of my videos, take a look at some of the others, see if you like them. Maybe subscribe if you would like. But this is probably a video that the motherboard manufacturers are not going to want me to make. And if I'm completely honest, when I started thinking about my thoughts on this, I knew I needed to share them with you guys as well. So if you're a regular, go make yourself a cup of tea, get comfy, let's have an old school TTL chinwag. So yes, the 11th gen i9, it really hasn't gone down well, has it? At the end of the day, multi-core performance was down because it had less cores than the 10th gen. It was hot, they were drawing a lot of power just so that they could get the overclocks up, which is technically, do you know what I mean, getting the clock speed so high, they were effectively pushing the silicon to its limit, which I don't particularly see pushing things to their limit as being a bad thing, but when it's okay for things to be running at 100 degrees, I don't know, that doesn't sit well with me. It doesn't feel like we're making progressions. And in years gone by, we gave AMD a lot of grief for hot running processors, like with Bulldozer, for example. So I think it's fair that Intel needs a bit of a, you know, like a push in the right direction. But when you understand what's actually happened, so 10th gen, you obviously had the motherboard revisions and stuff, and it was just mainly because effectively they weren't ready and they weren't in the right place where they wanted to be for how things were. So the 10th gen was basically just recobbled anyway, and it was an architecture that was meant to have been on 10 nanometer, but then they rolled it out in 14 nanometer. And it's same with the kind of the 11ths really. It's all been a bit of a stopgap because Intel has been having issues with 10th gen. And also, they're trying to stay relevant because at this present moment in time, without like turning the wattages up and turning the clock speeds up through the hill, they really haven't particularly at the top end got anything to compete with AMD. And it's a really big switch around compared to the way things used to be. So effectively, the last couple of launches aren't what they wanted to do anyway. The next one almost puts them back on track. But I'm of the opinion, yeah, I get it, there's a business, they need to launch stuff, but it was almost like, why? Why are you putting us through this stuff? You know, why didn't you just concentrate and get there? But, you know, they're just going to say, we had to make sales, we had to launch stuff. But I just feel sorry for the people that got yomped with the stuff that in reality was very half-arsed kind of lame approach at it, like that'll do, we'll just launch something, and it just felt a bit like, really, okay, what? So but obviously we'll go back to the 11900K. So the 11900K, clock speeds higher, 2 cores less, pulling loads of power. It's meant to be the flagship of the 11th gen kind of like L1200 socket. It just doesn't sit well with me. And on to the point of the topic was, has that managed to kill Z590? Because there are a lot of B560 boards around which are quite competitively priced. But I personally think that if the flagship processor is something that I would personally say, like someone was saying to me, do you think I should go and buy that? At this present moment in time, I'm like, no, I actually don't. Like if you wanted a multi-core processor, and you had to be using Intel, and I stress that point, if you have to be using Intel. No one really has to, but maybe you've got a motherboard already. I'm actually going to say go and buy the 10900K, make sure you've got good cooling, because, you know, for multi-core stuff, you're actually going to be in a better position. Sure, it was, the 11th one was okay for gaming and it was better, but their whole push on gaming leadership and stuff is quite literally such a marketing stunt. It's unreal, because in reality, even they know that the 11th i9 and i7s are just a bit... And in my own thoughts, it's like, this is the reason why I've pretty much made this video, if I'm completely honest. Because I've got the ROG Maximus 13 Extreme Glacial. And it's an absolutely epic motherboard. It's kind of back to the old school days where Asus have kind of thrown everything at it and they've just gone full baller with it. Now, the problem is this board's £1,400. And do I think you should be investing £1,400 in a board for the 11900K? No, I don't. And that's mainly because, let's face facts, the processor isn't worth investing that money in. But then you can step down the range a bit and you can go, oh, but what about the Z590 Aorus Master or the Meg Ace from MSI? And again, no, I think they're too expensive. Now, I came here with the sole purpose of saying that the Z590 range was dead. And then I went on to scan and I looked, and you can get the Asus Z590P for £185. You can get the Z590 Vision. It's white, so I liked it. It's £240, it's the upper end of it. But then MSI do one called the Pro for £172. And that's actually reasonable B560 pricing territory. Now, my swing with this was going to be get the 11400F or the 11600K if you want to overclock. That's really the, do you want to tweak with it or do you just want a game? And go and buy a B560 board. But these actually give you the connectivity and the bonuses of Z590, but without the huge price. So effectively, my thought process is now that the 11900K has killed off the expensive, the enthusiast line motherboards where we've got loads of phases and like they're all really pretty and a million connections on it and RGB this and RGB that. I feel that it has kind of killed those off because there's no point buying that processor and then spending so much money on a motherboard when in reality it's kind of like shouldn't really be buying that processor in the first place. Now, I know some of you are going to go and buy it and you're going to be really happy, and that's all good. But in a general grand scheme of things, there's going to be someone out there that's going to be like, should I upgrade? Probably not, no. If you have to go and buy a system now, you've had a death, like hardware death or something like that, then fair enough. You aren't going to be given a lot of choice. Some of the AMD processors are hard to get up on at the moment. That's all going to come down to where you look on the shops and what's going on at the time. So you have a lot of options about you. But if you're looking to spend a lot of money, and I mean a lot of money, like buying big motherboards, water cooling, you're like going balls deep on it, then I'm kind of at the opinion of I'd actually wait a bit. To make something an investment that you're going to be using for years, probably wait a bit. And that's why they're not going to like me. But with some of the lower end boards, that's not an area of the market that I would normally, personally, even be giving that much attention to. Mainly because the motherboard vendors don't want to send these boards out, for starters. So trying to get hold of them, you have to go and make special requests to get them so that we can test them. But I actually think that that's kind of a good thing. But the i7 and the i9, I'm very much of the opinion now that they're very meh products. Like, I'm really not that fussed. But the motherboard market, where the big boards are going, are really going to suffer because of that. The Glacial, amazing board. It would have been amazing if that was a crosshair though, so that we could go and put a 5950X in it, for example. 16 cores, big motherboard, water block, amazing. So it's a shame that the Intel got the focus, and it's kind of, I'm hoping Asus start to see now that they do need to spend a bit more time on the AMD stuff. And I've just realised that my memory card and my camera is almost full. Change around there. Anyway, so one of the things I did want to say is I have tested the 11400F, and for the money, £150 for an entry-level processor, it's actually really good. And I do want to also stress, Intel haven't asked me to make this video. The motherboard manufacturers haven't asked me to make this video. This is just me giving you my honest thoughts, because where things have changed so drastically, and now Intel were kind of on the back foot, I thought I'd explain where I was coming from with the difficulties with Z590 and the difficulties with these super expensive motherboards being completely let down by the i9. But yeah, have a look at the 11400 review that I've done. If you're interested, a lot of other reviewers have done them as well. Go and watch a few, get some kind of different thoughts. I think for an entry-level gaming rig, it's actually really good. I'd personally team that up with a B560. You can get them for around 120 quid. That's what I used. You can even go a bit cheaper if you want, if you're super tight on budget. You do need to remember though, obviously we do have a lot of issues at the moment with getting hold of graphics cards, although rumoured AMD are meant to be ramping up production. Why it's taken them a year to do it, I don't know. You'd think that when they were just selling out everywhere, instantly at launch, they would have just turned the dial up straight away, because they were just selling out within an hour. So I'm a bit perplexed why it's taken this long. But anyway, well, that's another video in itself. So yeah, deep breaths. What are your thoughts about it? Have you invested in 11th gen? They are selling. A lot of the stuff is going out of SI, so system integrators, a bit like PC specialists. They are selling quite a few, but it's not where they would have expected it. It's a lot less than they would have expected normally. I mean, they can't make PCs fast enough at the moment for the mass market, but we're all pretty much of the opinion that like 11th gen is just a bit... am I excited for 12th gen? As an enthusiast, yes, I am, because I want to see if its older Lake is going to be quick. I want to see if they've got that big step forward. I'd like to see their, not that they go in front of AMD again, but just so that they are properly competing to kind of push each other along. We're going to see DDR5. So all of those things, yes, I'm excited. Am I excited because it's Intel like maybe I would have been in the past? Not so much. They have a lot of ground to make up, in my personal opinion, to win people's favour again, because the last couple of launches where they have been so lackluster, and that they've pretty much been doing it because they had to, rather than it was something that was really warranted, you know, investing in new motherboards and stuff. I think they need to win people round again, if I'm completely honest, and they kind of need a huge step forward like Sandy Bridge again to kind of try and excite the market and possibly win people round again. And I'm not sure whether that's going to happen. And if I'm completely honest with the way things are in the PC market at the moment, yeah, we can't get hold of stuff quick enough, but I personally don't see any excitement in new launches at the moment, or just, you know, people actively getting excited about, oh, I'm going to go and get this new bit of tech, because it has been a bit... The last time we had like a big fuss around something was the most recent Ryzen launch. Because obviously with the RTX 3000 launch, yeah, they were great, but there was a lot of people saying, oh, it wasn't as good as this, it wasn't as good as that, and you know, they could have done something better, and it was about pricing, and then we couldn't buy graphics cards. It's almost like these marketing people need to kind of get together and basically make a plan where they're not going to annoy people all the time. It's like Nvidia now going to bring the 3080 Ti out. Now, it'd be nice to see how quick it is, but they need to make sure that there is loads of them at launch. Like, I don't care if you have to postpone it a month so you can build up this big stock. make sure there's loads available, because I know COVID and yada, yada, yada. I know that there's a container on that boat that got stuck in the Suez Canal, has a load of Cooler Master bits on it. They're like, yeah, we've got loads of power supplies in there. It's just stuck on the boat because they won't let it free. So I understand there's a lot of stuff that's gone on in the market recently, but I just want to see the excitement come back, because it seems to be dwindling. And I'm a bit worried about it, because I love PC hardware. That's why I do this stuff. I actually enjoy it. I like picking into the nitty gritty. And then you get a launch like the i9 and you're just like, oh, right, so it's not that great. It's all right, but it's not, you know, we need to have something positive to say. And at the moment, it's pretty much, right, we're waiting for DDR5. We're going to wait for the next lot of Ryzen stuff to come. I mean, I know we've got Threadripper coming with like the same cores that the 5000s had. So we're going to have some mental Threadripper stuff coming, but they're quite expensive. It's not particularly for gaming. It's like very high-end desktop kind of thing for mega content creators and people doing lots of like rendering and 4D stuff and all that sort of thing. So that's not particularly down at the market for an enthusiast that wants a really quick gaming rig and wants to overclock and stuff, unless they're going to have some crazy thing that they're going to bring us, which is super affordable. So I'm really looking forward to Threadripper. I want to play with it. I want to see how quick it is. I want to see like how much it's going to blow my 10980 XE out of the water, which it's probably going to do. Although I will say I am looking at, I was going to go 5950X, build myself a rig, get on the AMD platform, make a big change, make a statement, and I have, because we use the processors and the stuff quite lengthy, and it's now at the point where I can kind of put it in my rig so that it can kind of then go to work, and I'm not going to need to use it for any other reviews or anything again. So that's where I'm kind of heading with that even. But I'm now starting to waffle and we're going round. So effectively, is Z590 dead? I actually think all the expensive boards in reality are a very difficult sell, and you've kind of, as a person at home, you've kind of really got to want it, and it's not like a no-brainer choice anymore. It's like, oh yeah, I'm just going to go and buy that board. It's going to be amazing. There's always going to be an argument for why you probably shouldn't have bothered, and much more of an argument. But what I do think is it's kind of highlighted that the budget end of the market is kind of where there are a lot more reasons to kind of buy into it. You've obviously still got the AMD side of the camp. Obviously the 5600X is great, but then, you know, like gaming performance wise with 1100F, I know I'm going to get a lot of AMD people shouting at the screen, oh, Intel made you make the video. No one's asked me to make the video, I'm just chatting, we're just having a chat at the pub. You know, this would almost make a really good live stream video where we could literally just have open discussions. But it's just, I'm literally just brain farting at the screen. So, expensive Z590, yeah, I don't see the point now, if I'm completely honest. And I was going to say Z590 in total until I see that there was actually some relatively decent spec and decent priced Z590 boards at the bottom end of the pack. So if you're thinking about it, you know, maybe take a look at those. I personally don't see any point in anything above the 11600K though. I think the 11400F, the 11500F, and then the 11600K are fairly good processors. The 600K is just the one for you guys if you like to tweak and like want to overclock and mess around and stuff. With the 114, with the Fs, don't forget they haven't got an onboard graphics chip, no onboard video at all. But the temps are much better. You know, there's a few things I actually want to do with the 11400F now, just to kind of explore things a little bit more. And you'll probably see some of those videos coming from me, because at the moment, kind of having to find stuff to do rather than being absolutely flooded with new products and, you know, new things to play with. But let me know your thoughts underneath. Congratulations if you managed to get to the end. You can put in the comments, internet cookie. If you did get to the end, you also get the fact that you can put a like on the video for me, because I do like that. Also, if you get an internet cookie, I always check the comments. You'll get an actual love heart from me. So yeah, let me know what you thought. I've got a lot of stuff coming for you later on because of the office change, and you might even get to see my battle station a bit more often because of the way I've rejigged it, and get to see Michaela on the desk a bit more as well. But for now at least, this is the tiniest one with a completely waffle-bound video of just lots of brain fart. Out. Ding! I did that the wrong way around. Would you do that again? Out. Ding! Love you, sis.